Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Hey there, everybody in podcast land, and welcome to another sports podcast. I am Joel Anderson.
I'm Jordan Pomaville.
And joining us, as always, is the sports outsider, Phil Ranta.
Your voice sounds gruff today, Joel.
It is a little gruff. You know
What happened?
I think I'm just getting to be a little sexier. Is that
I don't think that's the gruff he meant.
Raspy, gruff,
That's what I always think when somebody uses one of those voice things. They're like, "We've kidnapped your daughter." I think, wow, that's a sexier voice.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's why they
Well,
do it.
it's the content.
Right,
You know?
exactly. It's got a little gum.
You know how women are. If you
Yeah.
kidnap their daughter and talk to them in a raspy voice,
Yeah,
they melt.
fawn.
Yeah,
they
so-
love it.
Did you see any games this week, Phil?
No,
All right.
I didn't see,
God damn
and not
it.
a single game.
Let's
There
move on.
a lot of interesting games that you could have caught this week.
Oh, like baseball.
The number one. No, there's no baseball anymore.
like
Phil.
hockey. Oh, I play
There's
hockey.
actually no. You named the two sports that are not going on right
like
now. Congratulations.
bocce ball. Oh, I'm gonna throw a ball close to another ball.
I don't know where you would have caught bocce ball. on
I don't
television.
either. That's why I didn't.
Right.
Oh.
A lot of big sports news. Let's dig right into it.
Okay.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update.
The Tim Tebow update, watch, update, brought to you by.
Mentos. Feel the rush in your mouth.
Oh, that was
They've switched it up a bit.
that was like the Mario Mentos drop.
That was the Yahoo Google News guy.
It's me, Mentos.
Yeah.
Okay, what went on with Mr. Tebow?
Jets win. New York Jets 27, St. Louis Rams 13.
Whoa.
Oh, and the Rams are a really good team this year, right? That's an impressive win.
No. The Rams are terrible.
Oh, that's right. The Rams are terrible.
I thought you were being genuine.
No, I was not at all.
I thought you were being the rapper.
I
Joe.
am-
Always
in fact,
difficult
knew.
when you don't follow sports.
That's true.
To know if we're being sarcastic or genuine.
That's why I'm always genuine.
You're earnest. You're more earnest than genuine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Vern?
Oh.
Aha.
Zing.
Passing. Tim Tebow, 1 for 1 for -1 yard.
The 100% completion percentage continues.
Well, you say that, but I listened in, to the podcast. There was no Tim Tebow update, watch update last week. Do you happen to know what his passing stats are for last week?
Oh, shit. No.
I don't either.
You weren't here, Jordan. You're the only one who prepares for this podcast.
3 for 3
What?
for 8 yards.
No.
3 pass attempts. Wow, this is an epic season we have going on here.
I'm
has a
going to
1
hire
for-
him for my football team.
No,
The
we already
XFL.
we already have
That's still
A-Rod.
around?
No, the XFL is lasted
We
one
already have
season.
A-Rod, and apparently we don't necessarily have the money to cover A-Rod anymore because I'll bet you Mentos is going to want a refund for at least part of what they paid us because we didn't do the Tim Tebow update, watch update last week.
The entire episode is brought to you by Mentos. The whole
right.
countdown was brought to you by Mentos. Instead of getting 5 minutes, they got an hour.
It was a little obnoxious
charge him
almost.
more.
Oh, I believe it. That's actually a blurb that the reviewers say about our podcast. It's actually a little obnoxious almost.
Yeah, okay, I can't disagree with him on that.
I
one.
can't either.
Yeah,
I
that's-
agree. I wrote
Obnoxious
that.
is kind of our shtick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Rushing, Tim Tebow. Last week, 4 carries for 14 yards, long of 6.
Whoa!
This week-
Tebow running up and down the field like a freaking gazelle. 14 yards.
14 yards. This week, 2 carries for -5 yards,
Ooh.
a long of 1 yard.
Sometimes when you're a gazelle, the lions get you.
Wait. Hang on. Long of 1 yard?
Yes.
2 carries for negative.
5 yards.
I think his other carry is for -6 yards.
I don't believe you.
I've used
Evolution
my
is a myth.
powers of deduction to determine that.
Listen, my solar-powered calculator will not work in this darkly lit studio, so there's no way of ever settling
way of-
this.
yeah.
Oh, you guys don't like the Comedy Podcast Network cave anymore. I thought it was cool we recorded in a cave with no lights.
You know, it was at first because it was for
Yeah.
the sound effects.
Yeah.
And the
We got
bats
the
making
great
those batty
echoey-
noises.
Yeah.
And the
I
bats
agree.
sometimes gave us some really great material.
Oh, yeah. Mostly That was theirs. They wrote that.
That was a great episode,
That was
though.
great
one of our
episode.
best episodes.
Yeah.
Did we air that in the end?
No, we didn't.
Oh, the Bat episode is classic.
You know why?
Listeners at home, if we ever get a chance to play you the Bat episode, consider yourself lucky.
We'll release it as a bonus sode when we get to episode 300.
I feel like there was so much copywritten material that we went over in that
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
we're never going to get clearance.
Especially when they started doing the Love Shack on ease.
Yeah.
They were going,
You'd think. No, well, watch it. We want to air this episode, Phil.
The B-52s are going to sue me.
Sue the living crap out of us and our bats. But again, listeners at home, probably the best episode ever of the Sports Podcast.
Undoubtedly. All right, moving on. That was a Tim Tebow update, watch update.
Tim Tebow update, watch update, brought to you by.
Mentos, feel the rush in your mouth.
You know, I want to say they're really mailing it in at this point.
Yeah, that voiceover artist is terrible.
Yeah.
I think they just got an angry high school girl.
Yeah, they're just running out of. All right. Hey, it's their drop, man.
Their drop.
Just play
It's
it.
their money. It's their advertising.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue.
Feel the rush in your mouth. But they love it.
Yeah. I thought it was feel the rush in your mouth.
No.
Is it
no,
feel the rush
no.
in your mouth?
No.
That's what I
That's just confusing. I thought it was you feel a Russian with your mouth.
That's wow. Phil,
No, but see, it can't be
revealed
that
a lot.
because that's Doublemint's.
Oh, that's right. That's double mints. After they got rid of the twins,
No,
they
no,
started.
no. Double mints is feel the Ukrainian your mouth,
Oh, yes.
isn't it?
This is great.
Jordan, what do we
podcast.
have on the docket?
On the
Well, you know, there's a big trade in baseball. There's a 12-player trade. It was just
Oh, yeah.
it was just okayed recently. Marlins and Blue Jays. It's a big trade. Marlins fans are despondent.
Yeah.
The Marlins have lost a lot of credibility.
It was basically the Marlins traded the Marlins
Right.
for the Las Vegas what do you call them? Whatever the AAA team for the Blue Jays is.
Right.
I don't know. Stop looking at me.
You know, we went the Las Vegas Area 51s.
Is that really what they're called?
Yeah, we went to a game once.
That's hilarious.
Were you there for that?
I was not actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They dress up like little aliens and go beep, bop, boop, 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 boop.
No, they wear baseball uniforms.
No,
Okay.
actually, Phil's right. They did.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I win, you lose.
All right, so we're going to interview Alan Denmore, who's a Marlins fan, who's a big Marlins fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were looking. We could not find a super fan.
Oh.
However, we have it on good intel that this is a really good Marlins fan.
Okay. It's as good as you can get.
As good as you can get. As good as you can get. So we get that.
Do you know how you become a super fan?
How?
Get bit by a radioactive fan. It's the only way. Without that, you can't be a super fan.
I had heard that. Yeah.
You know, but see, some people just make signs.
Yeah, doesn't work. Then you're just a fan.
It's not the same.
All right, we're also going to talk about some college football, which I'm
Yeah.
excited for. College football season winding down.
A big weekend. The number 1 and the number 2 team both getting upset and losing this last weekend, guys.
How's Kauai Community College doing? Good?
They're not. They haven't been able to get back to a bowl.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's too bad.
And you know what? Fuck them.
Way!
Fuck them.
That's not even a word for this an exclamation. I said way.
All right. And then the Lakers.
Lakers have a new coach.
They have a new coach.
After-
They fired their one coach 6 games into the season, I think.
Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant?
No. Kobe Bryant is a player on the
Ah,
Lakers.
yeah, you could argue Kobe Bryant it's appearing more and more like Kobe Bryant is basically
It
the
was a
coach.
very well-crafted joke that went over your head, Jordan. I just know a little more sports about you.
Yeah.
Apparently you do.
I do.
Yeah, so Mike Brown out the door after a mere 5 games. And what was it, like an 0-8 preseason? How many? I don't even know how many games they played.
Yeah, he did not win many games.
Did not do so well. And then it was looking like it was going to be Phil Jackson, wound up with Mike D'Antonio.
See, was it
I'm
ever
sorry,
really
Mike D'Antoni.
was it ever really going to be Phil Jackson? Because that just seemed to be the quickest bubble of excitement burst. Like, Lakers coach fired. Oh, it's going to be Phil Jackson. No, it's not. It's Mike D'Antoni.
Apparently, Phil Jackson was pretty sure it was going to be Phil Jackson. He was apparently quite surprised when he did not get the final call for that one. I guess he wanted like twice as much money as Mike D'Antoni.
What's a Zen master sound like when he's surprised? Oh.
That had gravitas
Yeah.
behind it. I liked it.
Yeah.
That was like Tom Brokaw.
Anyway, but we don't have the Zen master.
We do not have
He's
Phil
way
Jackson.
too hard to get. However, Mike Brown has time on his hands.
Oh, great.
So we thought right now we'd dial him up, see if we can talk to Mike Brown, see if we can get a feel for what went wrong.
Oh, okay. All right. He knows we're calling?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see if we can get Mike Brown on the phone. Hello, Mike? No, Mike, stop. No.
Mike,
Is that a phone?
the Sports podcast.
Sounds like he's just mashing buttons.
You already picked up the phone. You don't need to keep pressing buttons.
It doesn't seem. It sounds like he's just pressing his palm against the phone.
Mike,
what are you doing with the waffle
Mike.
iron?
Mike, just please.
No.
It's Jordan from
Mike,
the
don't
Sports
put the waffle
podcast.
iron against your face. That's not the phone.
We're trying to do a quick interview with you. We
No,
pre-figured this out.
Curler. Don't put that by your ear.
Stop
Oh,
pushing
you burned your
buttons.
That doesn't sound. That doesn't
Oh.
sound like Mike
You
Brown on the other
burned
end.
your ear again.
I think that sounds like Mike Brown's wife, maybe.
Yeah.
You
Is
just
Mike Brown?
have to push 2.
No. It.
Push 2 to answer the
Hello,
phone.
Mrs. Brown. Can you hear us, Mrs. Brown?
I think that your text message ringer is ringing.
Okay.
It sounds
okay.
like somebody yelling your name.
All right. This clearly he does not know how to
Does
use
not know how to
a
use the
telephone.
phone.
No, don't open the refrigerator. Wouldn't be a phone in the refrigerator.
Is it? Wait. It.
Oh my
sound-
God, the phone is in the refrigerator. How'd the phone get in the refrigerator?
It sounds like he's closed the refrigerator and now he just left the phone in the refrigerator.
All right. I think it's time to hang him.
I think we can understand why Mike Brown is maybe not the coach of the Lakers anymore.
Having a hard time with communication.
Yeah.
Metaphor.
Deep. Let's get on with it.
Yeah, let's go.
Face of college football.
All right, I am excited about this segment.
All right, I'm excited too. Let's talk some college football.
Yeah, I've got I've done some analysis here of college football, and I'm ready to lay it on you.
Well, you're a
Jordan.
fan, and
Oh, absolutely.
and you are someone who digs into the numbers.
I dig deep into the numbers, and we just had a huge weekend here.
We did. Number 1 and number 2 teams lost. K-State and Oregon both upset. And what does this do to the national title picture?
Well, I'll tell you what it absolutely does. It suddenly catapults Notre Dame right to the top of the standings. You know, obviously, a lot of eyes on Notre Dame because they are Notre Dame. But looking like as long as they can beat USC in Los Angeles this coming weekend, they will have run the table, and they will almost certainly play in the national title game, which would be a big deal. 24 years since the last time Notre Dame won the title.
Obvious question. Can they win it all?
Oh, good Lord, no. They absolutely cannot.
And why do you say that?
Because whatever SEC team it is that makes it to the national title is going to slaughter them like lambs on an Irish Sunday. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be brutal. You have to think the SEC is just so much better than everyone else right now. The SEC is like the German army in 1939. Okay, you know that they are.
It was on the tip of my tongue. I'm sorry I didn't jump in.
Yeah, no. They're an unstoppable force, employing superior force and a massive tactical advantage against their foes who have just no answer for what they're doing.
So you see the SEC winning yet another. This would be their 7th straight national title.
Yes, unless the SEC decides to foolishly invade the Soviet Union. Yes, I absolutely do see them winning their 7th in a row. Think of the SEC as being like Pizarro, the Spanish conquistador who took out the Incan Empire with merely a few hundred troops because of his massive technological and tactical advantages. However, in this case, the SEC isn't outnumbered. They draw more fans and they have millions more dollars than everybody else out there. So it's like that, except that they have more people too.
Right, but I would say even before this weekend, when we had 2 undefeated teams from the Big 12 and Pac-12 at the top of the standings, it looked like an SEC team might not even make it to the national title game.
You are correct. It looked that way for a little bit. That was kind of hilarious because that's really the other conferences. The only chance that they have is to huddle into a prayer circle and just go to the football gods and say, please, can you allow the SEC to beat each other up enough that they don't send someone to the national title game where we will inevitably lose to them. And this is because the SEC is not unlike the Death Star.
Okay.
Yeah. They're a giant, indestructible force capable of destroying entire planets with a devastating death ray. And the teams from other conferences are like the ragtag, overmatched group of small fighters making a suicide run at a tiny exhaust port that represents their one desperate hope for survival. Only in this case, the SEC has built like an anti-space torpedo shield over their exhaust port, so the fighters aren't gonna blow them up.
But couldn't Ohio State be those rebel fighters and go undefeated and untied for the 6th time in school history? But now they can't go to the postseason because of the postseason ban.
Yeah, the postseason ban, yeah.
Abuses under Jim Tressel. How do you think Ohio State might fit into this if they could play in a bowl game?
No, and I'm glad you brought this up because that is going to be the one big undecided question of this season. I'm sorry, unanswered question of this season because, people are always going to say if Ohio State goes undefeated, what if? What if they had gotten a chance to play in that national title game against an SEC team? Maybe they could have won, and that's a question that we're not going to have an answer to.
So you're saying Ohio State could have a chance against Alabama?
Oh, Lord, no. No. A lot of fans in Ohio are going to insist that we'll never know for sure, and that really means something. I think that's not unlike lamenting the fact that Shirley Temple never got a chance to face Rocky Marciano for the heavyweight title. I mean, sure, we can never know for sure that Shirley Temple wouldn't have been able to knock out Rocky Marciano, but we could probably assume that Rocky Marciano would have won that fight.
That seems like a very violent metaphor.
It is, and it's also not quite accurate. I think to really make this one fit, you'd have to assume that in this case, Shirley Temple has been crippled horribly and is a quadriplegic, and Rocky Marciano is like a killing machine made by genetically crossing a woolly mammoth and a great white shark.
And who hasn't had that fantasy?
Absolutely.
So you're suggesting that Alabama, Crimson Tide, is going to win the national title?
As long as they can get out of that SEC title game unscathed, I think, yeah. You have to remember, the SEC is like the ancient Roman Empire, okay? They've developed a lot of infrastructure to support them, and while piddling little barbarian tribes are around the edges here, when push comes to shove, they lock shields, and they just annihilate.
All right, you know what? I withdraw the question. Never mind.
Are you sure? Because I have a lot more analysis.
You know what? Let's just wrap up this whole SEC national title analysis.
Okay.
Face of college football. All right, Phil.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to you. I went out for burritos, and I heard you guys taped a segment.
I was going to say, this is delicious.
Oh.
This is delicious.
Anytime.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
All right, this is...
Who the hell is this?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Phil. This is Alan Denmore, and he's a really big Marlins fan.
Yeah,
Why?
man. Big Marlins fan. Yeah, bro.
Wait, you're a fan of baseball?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, no, beyond that.
Yeah.
Go Marlins.
The Marlins are...
Fry 'em fish.
That's not... Did they really say that?
I'm trying to get it started.
All right.
I kind of like it. I love fish. Fry 'em fish.
A lot of fans are upset with this player, with this huge trade, because they're basically giving the team away.
Yeah.
I want to say is, after they've won 2 World Series, each time fire sale. This time they end up in last place, and it's a fire sale. How does a really good fan, a maybe borderline super fan, how do you keep it going?
Well, I'd just like to begin by saying that I am, in fact, not a super fan.
Okay.
There are no Marlins super fans. Okay. I've heard rumors about one, who maybe lives in a boat in Biscayne Bay, but no.
Was he bit by a radioactive fan?
Yeah, well, what dude?
If there's a super fan, the only way to become a super fan is to get bit by a radioactive fan.
Okay, what's wrong with this guy?
See, the fan would be radioactive and would be giving its fan properties to the person to make him a super.
You mean like Spider-Man?
This actually makes a ton of sense. Anyway, how do you?
Wouldn't you have to get bit by like a radioactive marlin?
Wait, why? I'm the weird one. You like baseball.
Yeah.
That's strange.
We'll ask the questions here.
All right.
How do you hold on? How are you still a Marlins fan when this franchise shows an utter disregard for its own fans?
Well, let me go ahead and say this. This is, first of all, the least disappointing fire sale in Marlins history.
Okay.
And you might be saying it's got to be the worst because we are trading away what for most cities would be an entire Major League Baseball roster worth of salary.
That's what I was about
in
to say.
exchange for almost nothing.
Yeah.
But in this case, the team was actually pretty bad. There's been so many good players and good teams dismantled. This time around, it cushions the blow a little.
See, I agree. Like, if you have a terrible team, just get rid of them all and just get a new team, and maybe they'll be better.
Well, that was true. They were very expensive players, but this was a team that got city funds to build a taxpayer ballpark, got everyone rallied around it, said we're gonna spend money, we're gonna get players, and they spent a bunch of money, and at the end of the year, they got rid of them all.
Yeah, it was pretty clearly a trick.
Yeah, it would appear
A
so.
trick played in the city of Miami.
Right, and how are you not enraged and saying, no longer will I be a Marlins really good fan.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest. I was tempted with that. I am actually a city worker.
Okay.
Or at least I was until this last year when my job was eliminated.
Well, they finished the
'Cause
stadium,
city.
right? Is that
No,
why?
no, but
City paid
you know,
for the stadium.
City paid for the stadium.
Oh.
Can't help but wonder if maybe they'd have one more garbage man out there if not for the fact that they had to build that stadium.
Ooh, fry them fish.
Yeah, but hey, listen. Here's the thing. First of all, we are the only fish mascot in all of baseball.
That can't be true.
That's 100% true.
What
Name
about the
one
Blue
other
Jays?
fish.
Blue Jay's a bird, Phil.
Yes, that's what I meant.
And
Go
not-
on.
It's not a
What
fish.
about the Miami Dolphins?
Football. Also a mammal.
Also not a fish.
I've got one. How about the Giants? Huh? There's giant squids.
I think in that case they're not specifically going for fish.
Ha ha!
It could be a giant fish, I guess.
Could be the adjective giant, which could be used to modify anything, really.
Right.
But speaking of which, one giant fish would be Billy the Marlin, only the best mascot in all of baseball.
Billy?
Billy the Marlin. He's a natural-born clown and good-natured prankster.
Wait, what?
What does that mean?
That's what Billy the Marlin is. He's also an incredibly dangerous mascot to have around children because he does have that spike coming off the front of his face.
Yeah,
Right, that's not good natured. No marlin. You don't look at a marlin like all floppy at the fishmongers and say, "Whoa, that looks like a friendly, foolhardy, fun time."
Because it's not. It's a very dangerous fish.
Yeah.
I have to say, they did an exceptional job, Fox Sports South Florida, of cutting around the numerous different times when Billy the Marlin blinded a child in one eye.
God, that's
Whoa.
awful.
It was pretty awful.
How-
but we got to stick by the team. That's what I'm saying.
But your mascot is blinding children. Your owner has no regard for your team.
Yeah.
You got the trick the city into giving them a bunch of money for a ballpark to deliver a winner. He's not delivered a winner. He hires a manager who comes in, says some terrible stuff, and is fired at the end of the year. How are you holding on? Why?
Did you see that Scott Stapp song? Marlins Will Soar.
Wait, Scott Stapp from Creed?
Scott Stapp from Creed.
Well,
My
that song
God,
was-
no.
That's legit.
That
No.
song was terrible.
You
It
don't
was- I'll-
speak that
okay,
name here.
I will admit that it was an odd song, especially because a marlin is a fish and not a bird. I understand that's an easy mistake to make. Phil just made it a second ago.
What, like the Blue Jays?
No, they're a bird, Phil.
See, the Blue
That's what I
Jays
said.
could soar.
Jays can
Marlins
soar.
cannot soar.
Scott Stapp can't soar. I'll make him soar.
His
by punching.
soaring vocals on Marlins Will Soar would beg to differ.
Nah, he's terrible. I do not like Creed.
Okay, we got the mermaids. Those are
Wait, what?
cheerleaders that look like strippers. It is
There
Miami
we
after
go.
all.
Yeah,
All right.
this is good. Now I see it.
That's a reason to be a
But
Marlins fan.
like classy strippers. It's not Tampa. Come on.
No, never
Right.
mind. You lost me. I
Yeah.
don't like the classy
All
strippers.
right, fine. There is great baseball weather year round.
Well, yeah, but
That
why,
doesn't mean that we play baseball games year round. But the
why
weather,
would that make you a better Marlins fan just because it's sunnier? That doesn't make any. That's no correlation there.
It's like the opposite of seasonal depression.
I'm terribly lost. No, I
Starting
don't.
to really
pass.
dislike this
Pass.
guy,
That is
Jordan.
not a reason.
Also, living in Florida, we get to see a lot of legitimate teams do spring training within driving distance. The Cardinals are down there. A lot of people.
Have you ever met the Pittsburgh Pirates?
All of them? No.
Oh, well, never mind. It's not impressive anymore.
And again, spring training for other teams. I don't know how that would factor into being a Marlins fan.
Yeah, be a fan of the other
all
teams.
of the top tier future Hall of Fame talent that we traded away in the prime of their careers are coming back. So we still get to watch them periodically
Dios
during
mio.
spring training.
This guy is confused, Jordan.
All right.
I will say this. I am a little bummed.
What's that?
They got rid of the manatees this season.
Oh
What
no.
are the manatees?
They're these fat dudes who were the dance squad for the Marlins.
Oh, they got rid of the fat guys.
Yeah, little bummed about that. The fat guys who were basically the only audience draw for several years there.
Nah,
and then they
jeez.
shit canned him first chance they got.
That's tough.
It's almost like our owner is a cold-hearted devil of a man who only cares about money.
Yeah, Jeffrey Loria, not that great of a guy. You gonna be all right there, Alan? You're looking a little tense there. You're starting.
No, I'm fine. I'm just thinking about Jeffrey Loria and just how it might feel to Slowly drive a knife into his.
But hey, you got that home run feature, and you got the mermaids. Like
Yeah,
you
I
were
got that
saying,
great fountain and the mermaids,
yeah,
all
like
that. It's
baseball
great.
weather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Oh, good for you.
So you guys get it, right?
Yeah.
I think we
Well,
totally
I'm
do.
a big
That
Marlins
makes
fan.
sense.
All right.
Oh, wait, hold on. Look out behind you. There's a radioactive fan.
What?
Oh, no. You got bit.
I feel fine. I feel. Go Marlins!
Yeah.
Yeah!
He's a super fan.
Go
We're
Marlins!
super fan.
We got a lot of young talent in that deal. Okay, we're on the verge.
Oh, man, I
On
like
the
this
verge.
guy. Way
This guy's
better.
a lot more positive.
I
He's
like
he's
him.
a lot more heads up. I'm glad we got to see the creation of a super fan today.
Yeah, it's about time.
Were you just gonna let the guy who bit me just walk off?
Absolutely.
And now it's time for another Weird Sports. Weird Sports Mini.
Is this a spin-off from Weird Sports?
Yeah, this is the spin-off. This is the first ever spin-off. We're trying to sell Weird Sports as a franchise, kind of like the Housewives of Beverly Hills and the Housewives of Atlanta.
almost exactly like those shows.
Yeah, so now we're doing Weird Sports and Weird Sports Mini.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is this going to be kind of like the way that they made like an iPad Mini?
Yeah, exactly. The iPad Mini was a great inspiration for it.
But
So
it's
they-
going to be
they-
more
yeah.
like an iPod Nano.
Right,
In
yeah.
truth.
Yeah. It's going to be more like a Shuffle Nano.
The iPad, which was really just a big iPhone,
Yeah.
they've turned into a smaller iPad.
Right, but wider than an iPhone.
Nothing weird about that.
No.
Bring on the sports.
All
Brilliant
right.
idea.
This week's Weird Sport Mini. Sheep counting.
No, wait a minute, Phil.
Yep.
No, wait a minute there.
I'm waiting.
Not so fast.
Yes.
Sometimes at night,
Yeah.
before I go to sleep,
Yeah. What do you do?
I count sheep.
Really?
Yeah, jumping over a
There's
fence.
sheep in your room.
Yeah, how many
but
sheep
what-
do
but
you
what
have?
You're
I'm
going to
saying
get
is-
cholera.
No. This is in my head.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, how is this a sport?
Well, I'll tell you. Mini. This contest was held for the first time in 2006 in Australia. The rules of this contest are quite simple. About 400 sheep will make a mad dash past 10 competitors who will try to count them accurately.
Well, wait a minute, Phil.
Yeah,
No, you just told me how many sheep there would be.
right. That makes it pretty easy, doesn't it?
I would almost fake counting while all along keeping the number 400 ingrained in my mind.
See, you can't do that, though, because they have little Men in Black things where they look at it and then it wipes your memory.
No,
They don't
you
do
won't.
that. Yeah.
Achoo.
Achoo. No, they don't do that. It's kind of like, when you put jelly beans on your desk
Absolutely.
and then you invite school children into your office where nobody can see them
Not allowed to do that
and you
anymore.
say, count my beans, count my beans. And then whoever guesses it gets to escape. You know that game?
Right.
It's like that. It's a sport.
That was
Mini.
episode 20.
Yeah.
That was Weird
Yeah.
Sports Jelly Bean
Asterisk.
Counting.
That was the
Episode
bad
20.
episode.
Yeah.
We did the Weird Sports Jelly Bean counting.
But you'll never guess this.
What?
How you win.
How do you win?
Whoever guesses closest to the number wins. The number of actual sheep.
Wins.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to use any utensil to maybe use hash marks to so they don't have to just go 1, 2 like an idiot
Right.
counting normal?
Like an idiot. Yeah, no. You can't use utensils, but I can imagine that if you have long enough fingernails and dry enough skin, you can scratch tally marks into your arm. But they're running by you. Do you know how fast sheep can run?
No idea.
Moderately fast. Like
Mini.
medium. Mini. Yeah, they can run somewhat fast. I imagine that it wouldn't be easy to tally, You'd have to be like Rain Man.
Well,
Like
here's
when
the-
they throw the cards in the air.
They all look the same too. Unlike
think
Rain
that's what
Man,
Now who's being racist?
52 cards, each individually different. Those sheep, they're all the same, bro.
Yeah.
No, the sheep
I
in
think
your
I
head.
imagine that's the real challenge of sheep counting. Is that you're just looking like this is just a sea of wool.
Oh yeah, how do you
I
count?
gotta-
How do you make sure you don't count the same one twice?
I don't think you can be.
Yeah.
I would guess that no one ever gets like a totally accurate count.
That's probably true. I don't have that information on that. I did watch a YouTube video of them doing this.
Were they using their finger when they were counting, like
No,
pointing
they
at
they
them?
sat there looking around like owls.
Really? Can they run and follow them?
No, they just stood there and then they ran past them, and they.
Can you shoot the sheep as they run by in order to get a more accurate count.
See, now we're getting into a religious argument about is a sheep still a sheep when it's dead? You know, I would argue that once it's dead, it's meat and wool. Kind of like when a human's dead, you don't say, "Oh, that's my buddy." You know what I mean?
It'd be mutton and wool.
Yeah, it'd be mutton and wool, exactly. So if you were to kill them, still throw off the count. It'd throw off the count for other people though too. Then they wouldn't be able to get 400 like Jagoffs.
I'm imagining sheep counting turning into like Call of Duty.
Yeah. If you
0.
right, Call of Duty, Black Ops 2, right?
3 would be the sheep one.
Right, there we go. So is that kind of like your dreams, Jordan? When you're trying to go to sleep, you imagine 400 sheep running past you while you frantically count and Joel shoots them?
No. Well, everything up until Joel shooting him, which, by the way, no, I don't have the rules in front of me, but no, there's no guns allowed.
Right.
What? No, this event takes place in Europe. There's no guns there anyway.
It takes place in Australia.
Oh, a lot of guns there. Anyway, no, there are no guns. I am almost certain there are no guns allowed in this event.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've told you guys this once. If I've told you this once, I've told you 1,000 times. My favorite part of Weird Sports is trying to formulate my own strategies for victory.
Yes,
Right.
Annoyingly.
So my
You're
strategy for victory in this one would be to shoot the sheep in order to slow them down and allow me to get a more accurate count.
Everybody else would be able to get an accurate count then too, num.
But I'd be able to tie for first.
I'd use the DVR in my mind, pause it, and slow it down step by step, frame by frame.
You know what I would do?
What?
I would sleep with the sexy sheep tender woman who knew the accurate count beforehand.
Maybe a shepherd.
Yeah, the shepherdstress. And she'd be wearing clothes that are like half falling off, like flowy robes, and just like, "Oh, mate, I'll give you the count of the sheep beforehand, mate." And then she would tell me, and then I'd win.
I'm
No
gonna go on
killing.
record as saying that I vastly prefer Phil's strategy to my own.
Yeah. That's
It maybe says something about me that the first thing I came up with was slaughtering 400 sheep, and the first thing Phil came up with was having sex with a hot woman.
Yeah,
Love
but
her,
whenever I have
fight
sex
her.
with a hot woman, I have sex with a hot woman mini. Well, that comes to an end. Another Weird Sports!
All right, thanks for making it to the end of another Sports podcast. We would like to bid you goodbye, but before we do, we'd like to give you our contact information.
You can email us at sportspodcast@gmail.com. That's sportspodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at sports3podcast. That's at sports3podcast. You can find us on Facebook by searching Sports Podcast, your little top bar thingy. You can find us on Stitcher Radio. Download the Stitcher app today and search Sports Podcast. You can find us on iTunes by searching Sports3 Space Podcast. That's Sports3, all one word, Space Podcast. While you're there, please rate and review. Or you can find us at comedypodcastnetwork.com, where you can download all of our back episodes. And hey, while you're on the internet anyways, why not go to youtube.com/comedypodnet and search for all the great Sports Podcast back episodes. We're up and running 100%. And while you're there, you can check out some of the other Comedy Podcast Network shows like Funny Because It's True, the Storyteller Showcase Show.
My favorite part about that was the sell of, you're on the internet anyway.
Yeah.
Well, might as well.
That really could be any commercial that encourages you to do something online, from like banking to buying shoes.
Yeah,
It
but
should start
nobody
with,
else did it. I did.
you're on the internet anyway.
Right.
Just open up another tab. What gives?
Not a ton of work.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, guys, real quick.
Yep.
I know we're on our way out here, but I was so excited by that. I have procured an undisclosed number of sheep. I am going to stampede them through Phil's cave so we
fun.
can count them as we go out. We
Okay,
ready?
let's do it. Yeah.
Mark, it's at go. 1,
1, 2,
2.
3, 4, 5.
Lights off.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.